Having never done a degree in business, it kind of created a naivety in me that enabled me to not know what I didn't know. And so that got me into a juice bar. But it's not the juice bar you think it is. I thought I had everything under control. I thought I had my future planned out. And it all came crashing down. But there's one lesson that turned my biggest failure into my biggest success. What happened next changed my business and life forever. It actually was the juice bar that came before the juice bar, and it was called Seduce. So I jumped into this and I studied how to open a juice bar. I created the recipes for my kitchen table and I went, this is it, this is my future. This is where my path is. My future is going to be creating a juice bar chain. Didn't quite work out that way. What I found was, it was probably my first feeling of, what would you know you're a woman, or what would you know you're a mother, And I remember sitting around the table and there was the accountant and the lawyer, it was my husband Jeff and one other partner. And the question was, well, who's going to run this company going forward? And at that time they had thin air and I'd created a juice bar that was actually very profitable. And the accountant and lawyer actually laughed when they suggested it was me. And I'm thinking, first thing I thought was, guys, I'm in the room. If you're going to say that, you should do it above my back. We walked out of that room and I was devastated. I'd just given, a year's worth of my blood, sweat and tears on a future that I thought I was going to go. But what the negative turned into was a huge positive, because I took all that IP, all that knowledge and created Boost. We get bashed down in business all the time. And we think at the time that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. But I can tell you now that every single time you get knocked down in life and business, you'll look back at that moment and go, thank goodness that happened. And that thank goodness that happened because I am now here. Thank goodness the Seduce thing happened to me because I learned things about partnerships. I learned things about myself, and I created a business how I wanted to, not a legacy business full of people with old ideas. So when you are hit and hit hard, when you think that you're absolutely devastated, know that you will look back and go, thank goodness for that, because I learned all of these things. The best way to learn about partnerships is to get a bad partner. And I've had a few actually, but I've had also equally, just saying, I've had the great partners. What I learned was that when you go into a partnership, try and talk and consider an exit strategy. Just because you're in the honeymoon period and everyone loves you and everyone's happy, doesn't mean that's the future. So unfortunately, wouldn't it be great to shake hands and go, hey, we're in it together? And I've done that, and with Mr. Jeff Harris, the co-founder of Flight Centre, and we are, 30 years on, we are still great mates. But it doesn't always work that way. So unfortunately, the documentation and the exit strategy and what happens if you don't get along is a discussion you need to take, and you need to take early. Because a bit like marriages, 51% don't work. I reckon it's pretty much the same with partnerships. So go in with it thinking it's going to be great, but what if it's not? The best thing about my failed juice bar experience called Seduce was that Boost was born. And how good was that?